Well, in the American capital, the battle over the budget is taking shape. Another battle. Riding a wave of good economic news, President Barack Obama sent his budget to Congress. You didn't need a crystal ball to predict that Republicans would balk, especially on proposals to raise taxes on the wealthy.
Now, I know there are Republicans who disagree with my approach. And I've said this before. If they have other ideas for how we can keep America safe, grow our economy, while helping middle-class families feel some sense of economic security, I welcome their ideas. But their numbers have to add up. And what we can't do is play politics with folks' economic security or with our national security.
Well, Orig News political analyst Eric Ham is in Washington, D.C. Eric, of course, welcome back. The budget, yeah, it's almost $4 trillion. Now, that sounds like a lot in comparison. Can you say, is that bigger than past budgets by leaps and bounds?
Well, actually, it's much bigger than what we've seen over the last few years, because what this budget does is it actually breaks the chain of sequestration. So what we're seeing is approximately more than $70 billion added to this budget. And that actually should make Republicans happy, because this money is it's actually split evenly between domestic and foreign policy spending. So you're going to be actually seeing a plus up, particularly on the defense budget, which should make a lot of hawks, particularly on the conservative side, very happy. But of course, given the president's call for a number of changes that will directly impact the wealthy, that's going to shape up to be, I think, a very huge battle going forward.
Right. So outside of that, of course, we know that's going to be controversial. What are some of the other more controversial items in this budget?
Well, actually, one of I think the big issues that I think will generate a huge battle is the increased taxes that he's now putting on big banks. And actually, I think you're going to see a huge battle. Expect to see, I'm here in Washington, so you can expect to see basically K Street here in Washington, D.C. become ground zero, because you're going to really see the banks really fight this tooth and nail. And of course, particularly Speaker Boehner's party is not going to be very happy with this also. Additionally, you have an increase on capital gains taxes for the wealthy, a limit on deductions that wealthy people can accept, and also he looks to increase the taxes on inheritance. So these are just some of the issues that I think are really putting the wealthy in the crosshairs here. And so I think there's going to be a huge battle. Now, of course, somewhere Senator Elizabeth Warren is smiling at all of this. Because these are some of the things that she's been calling for quite some time.
Eric, the one thing that a number of people have been talking about, the pundits across all networks, is about the $500 billion allocated to the defense. Too much, too little, in your opinion? What do you think?
Actually, I think what you're finally beginning to see is the president, I think, moving in a more aggressive direction in terms of all of the major foreign policy challenges that we're dealing with. And so I think what you're seeing is the president now looking to begin plussing up in theater in situations like the Middle East with ISIS, and potentially in Ukraine, given the situation taking place there over Crimea between Russia and the Ukraine. So I think that, again, this is an issue. This is an area where I think the president will have some wiggle room in terms of horse trading. Maybe he can get some of the things that he wants in terms of shaping the budget, in terms of giving on the defense end and getting something else. So I think there's a lot of room there for some horse trading, but it remains to be seen if that's something that will actually take place.
Yeah, I want to talk about the capital gains on the wealthy. I mean, this affects a lot of people. Capital gains right now, correct me if I'm wrong, is like 36 or 39 point something %. I mean, this is like a shake, this is a legal shakedown by the government as far as I'm concerned. And it just doesn't affect wealthy people. It affects all Americans who either have an inheritance or capital gains. How does he expect this to pass? I mean, who's going to vote for anything that would increase these kinds of taxes?
And realistically, like I said, these are some of the issues that he laid out during the State of the Union. However, I don't think, particularly in a GOP-controlled Congress, he's going to get many of these. But of course, things that he's calling for, like free tuition for community colleges, the money for these things have to come from somewhere. And so I think what he's doing is he's trying to raise that money by going after the wealthy to pay for these things that he thinks will be a boon to working and middle-class families.
I got to tell you, Eric, I think this may be something that could come back to bite him, but I guess we'll have to remain to see this. Of course, the stock market is up, unemployment is down, and maybe he's rocking the boat, but we'll have to argue that on another day. Eric, thank you so much.
Good to be here. Thanks, Julian.
Okay.